In this lesson, we're going to see how easy it is to build your own drum kits by extracting individual hits from percussive loops. Then we'll learn how to record, draw, and edit drum patterns in Live. Track 1 is an audio track containing a single sampled drum loop. Directly above the drum clip is the arrangement loop. The control bar shows that the arrangement loop is active and is set to a length of 1 bar. Since this is the same length as our clip, playback will continue seamlessly even as the clip reaches its end. Let's press the space bar and listen to the drum clip for a moment. We'll press the space bar once more to stop playback. The drum loop sounds fine, but perhaps it's a bit too restrained rhythmically. Fortunately, Live will let us take things into our own hands. We're simply going to grab the individual drum hits from this static sample and drop them into Impulse, Live's percussion sampler. Let's drag an instance of Live's Impulse instrument into an empty MIDI track. Each of Impulse's 8 sample slots are empty, as we intend to fill it with our own samples. If you'd prefer to use one of Live's ready-made drum kits rather than building your own, you could just drag in a preset from Live's browser. But for now, we'll build our own. Above the 2 tracks, you'll see the beat time ruler, which helps you keep track of the song position. It also serves as a navigational tool, allowing you to quickly scroll and zoom in on specific areas of interest. Now we'll click and drag up and down to zoom out and in, and left and right to scroll the view. Let's zoom in a bit closer on the second bass drum hit that lies at position 113 until we can easily tell where it starts and ends. We'll click and drag inside the track to select the whole drum hit. Live will help you by snapping your selection to the nearest grid lines, which can also be turned off. It's important that the selection begins at the same point as the beat begins. It's fine if there's a bit of extra silence at the end. We've isolated the bass drum from the audio track, but now we want to get it into Impulse, which is in the MIDI track, and therefore not visible to us right now. To change the track focus without losing the selection, we'll press the down arrow key on your computer keyboard. The MIDI track is now focused, revealing the impulse that it holds. With the drum hit in track 1 still selected, click on the clip's title bar, keeping the mouse button held. Now we'll position our mouse over the leftmost impulse slot and release. We can test our new sample by clicking on the triangular launch button that appears when our mouse is over the sample slot. If the computer MIDI keyboard switch is enabled, you can also play Impulse's sample slots with your computer's A through K. Let's zoom in on the snare drum hit at position 121, shown as 1.2 in the timeline. We'll repeat the select and drag process that we just learned and drop the snare hit into the next slot. If we scroll to the next drum hit near position 122, we see that it starts a bit after the beat. If we were to extract the drum right now, grid snapping would cause a small delay to be included before the actual drum sample. Impulse's start parameter can correct small offsets, but it's a good idea to simply get things right to begin with. As you zoom in, notice how new grid lines continually appear, allowing more accurate selections to be made. Zoom in slowly until a grid line appears that is right at the start of the drum. You can then easily click and drag to create your selection. Grab the clip once again by its title bar and drop the drum into the next empty slot in Impulse. Before going any further, it would be a good idea to rename the drums that we have in Impulse's sample slots. Currently, they're all named Hip Hop because that's the name of the audio clip which we copied them from. Let's create some more descriptive names by clicking on a slot to select it, then choosing Rename from the Edit menu and typing. There are only 3 other unique drum sounds in this clip that we haven't yet captured, and you shouldn't have any problems now getting them into Impulse. They're located at 123, 131, and just after 132. To save the kit as an impulse preset that can be used in your other live sets, simply press the Save Preset button in Impulse's title bar. The focus switches to Live's device browser, where a new preset entry waits for you to give it a name. Type a name, then press Enter or Return to store your preset in Impulse's folder. Now that we've got ourselves a drum kit, we're going to move into Live's session view to record a drum pattern. Before this, let's deactivate the hip-hop clip in track 1. Since we'll be making our own rhythms, we don't want to hear this clip anymore. Double-click on the hip-hop clip's title bar to display its properties in Clip View. In the upper left corner, you'll find the Clip Activator button. Click it once, and the clip becomes deactivated. Now we can switch over to the session view by pressing the computer's Tab key or by clicking on the Arrangement View, Session View selectors. Let's prepare the track to MIDI for recording by pressing the track's Arm button. Our new drum pattern will reside in its own new MIDI clip. Create an empty MIDI clip by double-clicking inside any clip slot in the track to MIDI. Be careful not to click one of the round record buttons at the slot's left sides as you do this. Let's activate the metronome to keep time with. We could use the Edit menu's Record Quantization entry to automatically quantize our playing to a metrical value. If you prefer keeping your own time when recording, set this to no quantization. You can always quantize after the fact, as we'll see. Let's turn on MIDI overdub recording. To begin recording into the clip, we'll click its Clip Launch button. Let's hit the computer keyboard's A key. The kick drum plays immediately, and once again every bar. Every note that we play is captured into the pattern and repeated every loop cycle. We can see our changes reflected in the MIDI editor. Remember, you can always use the undo command to get rid of all the notes from the last loop cycle you played on. You can do this at any time, and in fact any number of times, until the pattern is empty again. To rehearse while the existing pattern plays, deactivate the control bar's overdub switch. Turn overdubbing back on when you're ready to record again. Not only can you record patterns, you can also draw them. Let's engage Draw mode. In Draw mode, clicking into an empty grid tile in the note editor creates a note. Clicking into an occupied tile clears the tile. Dragging across tiles fills them or deletes them all. You can change the grid density quickly using a context menu. Right-click on a PC or control-click on a Mac anywhere in the note editor where there are no notes and choose your desired grid width from the Fixed Grid section of the menu. When Draw mode is deactivated, you can select notes by clicking them, or multi-select notes by clicking and dragging a selection box around them. Groups of selected notes can then be moved, deleted, copied and pasted, or quantized. The Edit menu's Quantize command will bring up a window with options for shifting selected notes to the nearest specified metrical position. You can extend your pattern to a longer loop just by typing in the desired loop length. The leftmost length field in the notes box defines the number of bars in the pattern. Click in this field and type 2, for instance, then hit the Enter or Return key. You'll now hear a 2-bar loop with an empty second bar. You can fill in new notes by playing, drawing, or copying and pasting. The loop brace offers a convenient way of copying and pasting notes. To try this, drag the loop edges so that the loop contains the notes you want to copy. Then, copy to the clipboard via the Edit menu or the Copy shortcut. Move the loop brace to the target position and paste. Drawing in the velocity editor changes the velocities or intensities of notes. The saturation of notes in the display corresponds to their velocities. Lighter notes will play more softly. To draw velocities for a single drum sound only, click the white piano key next to that sound's name, selecting only the notes that play that sound. Make sure that the draw tool is turned off. Then, drag one of the note's velocity markers to scale the velocities for all selected notes. Now that you're familiar with the art of creating patterns in Live, you'll probably want to create more. You can create any number of empty MIDI clips in the session view and record into them. You can also duplicate existing clips and create variations from one pattern. Note that you can always overdub into an existing pattern. You can also use Live's global groove control to adjust the swing of your audio or MIDI clips. You should also explore the powerful sound shaping controls that are built into Impulse. When doing this and working with your clips simultaneously, you'll no doubt find the Shift-Tab shortcut handy, as it toggles between the clip view, where the note editor lives, and the track view, which displays Impulse and its controls.